If you've ever
They're going to be able to pull off a new world order and convince people to be a part of it. Yes, we know that there's insane people in our society today that are being enabled and allowed to be insane, and in fact being empowered to be completely insane. We saw that obviously what they did in Congress with the whole "what is a woman" thing, if you weren't familiar, where they asked the person to the Supreme Court what a woman is. They can't define a woman. I mean, that's the insane world that we live in now. That's the insane reality. So those people, of course, will love a new world order because they love hand-me-outs. They love Big Brother. They're just sensitive cupcakes that obviously are all for the destruction of our society because they've been convinced that it's what's in our best interest, because they believe in all the stuff they see on the TV. They think we live in a racist world, a hateful world, a unjust world. And of course there's truth to all that stuff, but all of that stuff comes out of the mouth of the beast. The people in control are the ones who have planted all those seeds and continue to ignite wars between people and citizens to take attention off of them, the ones who are doing this. So a lot of people say, well, how in the world are they going to do this? What is the New World Order going to look like? What is the government structure of it going to look like? And I was going through old videos from the World Government Summit, the thing that I covered recently. A lot of people have been covering it. Of course, Klaus Schwab, a part of that. And they actually talk about the framework of what the future New World Order government's going to look like. I found a clip from about 10 years ago. I think it's 9.5 years, where Schwab is talking about what the government will look like. And I'm going to play the clip for you. It's pretty unbelievable, too, because at the time, he compares it to things like YouTube, where the government is pretty much set up, and it's a placeholder that the citizens run and control. That is the way, if you think about it, that makes perfect sense for them to pass over a new world order. To say, look, we have incompetent governments around the world. We have bad governments that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. What you see in America right now, right? A dysfunctional government. We've seen it on both sides. With Trump in power, all the liberals thought, oh, the government's horrible, it's going to kill us. Now we see it the other way, where they have the liberals in charge. Oh, they're incompetent. They're literally, you have Biden double talking and just the nonsense. It just looks like, the place is going to get bombed, because that's what they want. It's part of the show, because they need to destroy governments to bring in a new world government. Listen to Schwab talking about how it'll almost be like YouTube, a platform where the citizens control government.
The role of governments in shaping the future of populations, the welfare of its people, never has been as important as it is today. Let me just describe to you first the different types of governance. And governance is how governments exercise their duties, which I would call governance 3.0, where people are co-owners, co-shapers, and are really engaged in working together with governments to provide the best services for the future. Let me just give an example. I know Google is very present at this meeting. If you take the Google search machine, it's still governance 2.0, because you ask for an information, you get the best information. If you take YouTube, it's already governance 3.0, because it's a platform, and it's the users themselves who provide the information. And I would see the future of government to a large extent, if I take another metaphor from business, like the iPad platform of Apple, which means the government provides the framework, and it's the citizens themselves who put the application on the platform.
So obviously what's ironic about that is even admitting that, pretty much saying YouTube and Google and big tech are obviously government agencies, which they are. It's funny how back then, 10 years ago, you could look at YouTube and say, oh, it's run by the actual people, the uploaders and the people who comment and watch the videos. It's kind of their platform. Not anymore. It ain't YouTube anymore. Obviously, this is the most censored place on the internet, here, Facebook, Twitter, social media in general, because I guess then Claus didn't think that so many people would be waking up after Event 201 and the simulation that they ran, but they have. So, of course, they've had to take the internet and, well, take more control of it. But the thing that's important to note in that is the empowerment, right? Empowering the people, making the people feel like they have a share in the government. Those are some of the trigger words that he uses. Stakeholders in government. The citizens are stakeholders. That means the citizens, just like investing in a stock, right? People who invest in a stock are supposed to be stakeholders in the stock, shareholders in the stock. So they almost are supposed to be part of the company per se, right? It's a publicly traded company. Well, that's what they envisioned the government as. This will make citizens feel like it's their government, that they are part of the government. There'll be no more left-right divide. Ooh, it's all of us together and we all have a say and it's a utopian type government. Will something like this ever work? Of course not. Not until they eliminate a good portion of people off the face of the earth, because the only people that'll buy into this are people who are under full mind control. So what they would do is they would tell people that they're empowered, right? Which is part of the reason, of course. I've been talking about this for a long time, this self-empowerment garbage that they constantly push. Be your own you. Be the best you can be. Constantly, people so self-absorbed with social media and all this stuff. This is part of the New World Order system. Self-empowerment, being self-absorbed, being totally oblivious to what's happening, and not realizing that they're being engineered to act and behave that way. So think of it this way. When the government's here, when the New World Order government's fully in place, a lot of people say, well, it's in place already. The people are in place who are bringing in the New World Order, but the actual system isn't here yet, even though the systems that we have currently don't actually work. You know, the Supreme Court, all these, all the stuff we're supposed to buy into, it's not real because this isn't really a republic. They need to erase the framework of it and set up a new framework. And of course, these are all things that'll come with the reset, with a grid shutdown and total chaos that they're going to create, right? Like the phoenix rising out of the ashes, that'll be this New World Order government. And people will have full stake in this. And that's what's scariest about it, right? Because these people are going to think that they have a share and a say and all this stuff. But everything that they're going to be doing and saying is going to be coming from mind control. Because they're just going to groom people into all of the things that they want this world to be and how it to look. They're going to groom them into wanting it. Just like we see now. They've brainwashed and groomed all these people into global warming. They brainwashed and groomed all these people into thinking that certain things are born this way, born a certain way. Right? This is all mind control stuff. So once they have this in place, then they can use the media to continue grooming them and tell, oh, this is what's best. And they'll just follow what they're told. So in reality, they'll feel like they're self-empowered. So they'll feel like, well, how can we be against the government? We are the government. And in reality, there'll be no free thought. There will be no people giving any or doing any critical thinking. It'll all be being done for them, just like the way it is now, where there's just a small portion of us who are awake, and then you have people who are Republican who are awake for the most part, but they still believe in the system, which is their mistake, because the system is already gone. It doesn't exist, the Republic and the left-right. But they're somewhat awake. We're fully awake and aware of what the government is. But there'll be everybody else who's empowered in this. These people who probably drive you crazy, who you see all the time in your family or your friends, who just like ignore you about conspiracy and things like that. And they think that they know what's going on. And you go, oh my gosh, my cousin, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, whoever. They're so oblivious to what's going on. It drives you nuts, your mom, your dad, whoever. Right? Those are the people who will have stake in the government, along with you if you're still here and they're not eliminated. But those people will be fully groomed by these elites, by these people who are pulling the strings without knowing it. And it makes perfect sense, right? Enable these people mentally when they're not really even mentally on the same on any wavelength, really. They're just zombies who are just listening to what they're told, and all of their opinions are formed via the television, via the school system, which is all under full control. Nothing's real. It's all lies and an illusion. So if you're wondering where I'm going and what I'm trying to say, I guess, in summary of everything I've been saying is, picture a government gone, right? We have a reset. Everything's gone. The structure is gone, and we need a new government. Well, it's going to be the people's government because, look, our governments failed us. These people failed us. They've been put in position to fail. They're doing it on purpose, okay? So then the people rise, right? Like the phoenix rises. The people will rise. They'll be empowered and in place as government stakeholders and have a say in their government. But every single thing that comes out of this new government will be mind controlled into them. They know for a fact that all they need to do is tell people what's right and empower them constantly with making them feel like they're important and they're special, and they'll just do the bidding for them. And that's exactly the world we live in now, but just imagine it on steroids. That right there is a new world government run by the people, in reality run by the devil through mind control. So this is, Klaus Schwab talking about this 10 years ago. These are the government leaders meeting together, talking about this, formulating how can we do this? How can we pass this? How can we make this so that people want to be on board? Well, perfect. Let's empower them. And I'm sure this has been in place for a long time, but you don't hear them talking too much about what this government's going to look like. We just constantly hear them talking about a new order. But if you dig deep enough and you listen to these people enough, you find little things that they mention like that, where they're talking about stakeholders in government. Now you might say, well, Carl, we're currently stakeholders in government. Well, no, you're not at all, obviously. And if you think that you're a stakeholder because of your vote, well, the illusion of your vote counting, of course, think of it times 5,000. Where you actually have a say in certain things, however this system's going to look, right? And like he said, it'll be their framework, like YouTube's platform. And then, of course, people will have say. But just like YouTube and just like other social media platforms, if your say doesn't go with what they want and what the agenda is, they'll just cancel you. And they don't even need to tell everyone they're canceling you. You'll just quietly vanish, or they'll quietly take you down like they do on social media anyway. So that's the framework of a new world order. That's what it will look like. It's a scary idea because you think about these lunatics we already live among. Just imagine them even more empowered. So you have people who are literally just going on autopilot, who have egos, who think that they know what's best. They don't know anything at all. That's why I always say, imagine when all this does go down, when Christ returns. What's going to be going through their heads? And then you realize, in Revelation, it talks about these people, even then, they're going to be defiant of God because they're so prideful, right? And that's Satan's sin, pride. And these people are going to be so arrogant still and prideful and spiteful of God. It's unbelievable. But imagine being them and then realizing, wow, every single, not just a few, every single thing that I thought was real was fake. Everything, from the smallest of things. Everything that I believed in my entire 50 years, 70 years on earth was just utterly not real. Yeah, well, that day will come soon at some point. But in the meantime, they might as well empower these people because they'll just do what the New World Order wants them to do anyway. Or they should say this, that the devil wants them to do anyway. Satan wants them to do anyway. So that's the New World Order framework in a nutshell, in my opinion, what it will look like. Of course, this will be under the Antichrist, who will come in love and peace, in the name of love and peace. Makes perfect sense if you think about it.